Welcome to the wonderful world of dance, bringing you exclusive interviews with top dancers and choreographers and reviews of the world's best companies across the globe. You can find lots more on our website at thewonderfulworldofdance.com.
Hi, this is Savannah Saunders, and today I'm speaking with Kevin Finnan, the artistic director and one half of the founders of Motionhouse, one of the UK's leading dance theatre companies. Motionhouse are showcasing their trademark high-energy combination of physical dance and acrobatics in the acclaimed piece called Scattered, being performed at London's Peacock Theatre. Thank you so much for joining us, Kevin.
Well, thank you. I'm really pleased to be here talking to you, Savannah.
That's great. Look, firstly, I would love to learn more about Motionhouse and this dynamic style of dance for all of our listeners out there across the world.
Well, Motionhouse were a company that were formed in 1988, and, you know, for a long time we followed the path of a traditional contemporary dance company, exploring a range of techniques and a range of performing options. But what we've become now is a company that has really embraced spectacle in our work. And the way that we do that is we meld a very adventurous dance language. We mix it with the techniques that have been developed in circus and stuff, like hand-to-hand and acrobatics and things like that, aerial work. We also mix it with, in our indoor theatre productions, a very fine integration with digital content, particularly film. So we're trying to make something whereby the show that you see, the context of it is that it's a world in itself where the digital and the physical language move across, and so that you're trying to get an almost, if you'll pardon the pun, a 4D experience when you see it. And this has come about through a curious path, because, you know, being a dance company working in theatres and touring internationally is kind of what we were doing. But we also, from very early stages, really wanted to work outdoors. So, like most dance companies, we started with doing site-specific work and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But then we discovered that there was a whole other world of outdoor performance, where street festivals, where it had traditionally been street performers and circus performers, etc. And actually I thought, well, dance can go just as well here. This is a whole other audience for us. So we really began to make work for that, first on the small scale, and then we built up and up and up until we've done enormous spectacles where, you know, on a giant scale, where we've taken over a city centre and projected on all the buildings and built a full-scale ship in the middle of the city, and right up to choreographing the London Paralympic opening. So we kind of have gone on this massive spectacle journey, and I've really been impressed with its power to hold an audience. And so therefore it was like full circle, let's bring this back into the theatre and enhance our language with it.
That sounds really exciting. It sounds like almost like a dance installation in the outdoors. Sounds very unique.
Yes, that's what we're trying to really work on. There are companies that do facets of everything they do, but there are not many that do everything we do, if you know what I mean. So that's our unique position, if you like.
And tell us about Scattered. What can audiences expect to see as you bring this type of dance theatre indoors?
Well, Scattered was a show whereby I wanted to create a show about water. And the reason for doing this is that, you know, I'd spent a lot of time traveling the world in different contexts with my work, etc. And, you know, I'd traveled in the far north and seen the ice going back, and I'd travelled in the south and seen things drying up, and I was just really, really interested in it. And it became a great topic. I did a lot of research around, and this is about 8 or 9 years ago now. It was a really interesting time, and I thought, you know, I want to make a work which is about the way we live, the context of the way we live, things that are really important to us, that for those of us who live in the West with plumbing may not have, you know, if you can turn a tap on and off, you don't think about water. You only think about it when you haven't got it, really. We're a bit like the fish, you know what I mean? It's
absolutely
everywhere for us. So that was the content. And the form of it was this real tight interaction with digital, the film. And so whenever you work with film, there's always the context of, well, what's it going to be projected on? What's the relationship? And we came up with the idea of having a floor that just seemed to go into the ceiling like a wave. You know, if you look straight on a wave, this big. So we created this huge curved 17-foot or 4.5 meter wall, which was the same color as the floor, and it just rears up into the space. And that functioned as a screen, but it also gave us an extraordinary physical language to explore on this amazing floor. So therefore we had all the ingredients. The content was there, the extraordinary setting of this type of set. The best way to visualize it is if you think about the winter sports like snowboarding and stuff. They have these things called half pipes or quarter pipes. These sheer walls with a little curve at the bottom, and that's essentially what our set is. And we engage with it with our bodies in all the way that snowboarders would engage with the wall anyway. So it gave us a fantastic physical language, and it's been an extraordinary show for us, Scattered. It's been around the world twice. It's the first part of an amazing triptych that I've been on over these years, creating work which is about the environment, but is not a polemic about you should turn off your tap. If you come away from the show thinking you should probably turn off your tap a little bit sooner, fair enough, but it's about our fundamental relationship with the world in which we live that I'm much more interested in. I'm not an Al Gore type, do you know what I mean? It's not a polemic. It's there to suffuse you again with that relationship of the wonder of the relationship of the world that we have. And so Scattered was part one. Broken was a show about our relationship to the earth was part two. And the reason that we're doing Scattered now is part three will come out this year, and that will be the triptych of our relationships. And part three is a show called Charge, which is about the relationship to energy, the fact that the human being is actually an electrical system itself. And we are electrical beings. Without the electrical spark in our brain, there would be no conscious life for us. And so I've been on this thing of water, earth, and energy over a long period, and refining and developing the kind of extraordinary things you can do with filmic interaction, and developing this particular dance language of ours.
And these three pieces, very elemental.
Yes.
In there. How have you approached creating new works in this type of space with these very big topics, but also very elementary topics as well? How was that influenced, or how have you approached creating the new work?
I have a process whereby, and it's being refined and developed as we've gone along for these type of works, where I do a lot of initial research on a couple of levels. I'm always looking for the visual language, what the film is and how we're going to interact with it. The content, I research a lot through universities. I work a lot with university professors. So, for example, on Scattered, I went and spent some time with professors at King's College doing research onto water at an atomic level and etc. And I gather a body of information. We have some filmmakers that we work with called Logella Multimedia, who are from the Basque region of Spain, and we've developed this working relationship with them over the last 10 years. And the designer that I work with, who works on the context, we've worked together now for 27 years. So it's been, it's all about building a team, building a body of research material, and then working with dancers for as long as you can over a long period to develop a body of skill, a language for the company that lives on in their bodies as we go through. So that's the basic idea of it. And so the water research for Scattered, a lot of the information came from King's, Broken. There was a lot of research at Warwick University. And for Charge, I'm currently working with Dame Professor Francis Ashcroft at Oxford University on the electrical body and how it works. So a kind of a multi-layered approach to research, really.
And I wanted to ask as well, Motionhouse is quite a small company. It's only got 8 dancers. How has that influenced the company and your work and the company's work? Because it's very intimate. That's very small, isn't it?
It is very small. And we're very happy that we've been able to punch above our weight, if you like. But what it means is that you want to bring, like, the dancers aren't just dancers and I'm the choreographer and I tell them what to do. It's about bringing a whole group together as a body of artists who then work and develop, which is why I continue to work with the same film people, I continue to work with the same designer, and we really want to hold our dancers for as long as we can. So Junior, who is our rehearsal director and still dances in the shows. He's been dancing with me now for 14 years. And I've got quite a few who've been with me for 7, 8, 5, 6, etc. So, and what that allows you to do is it allows you to really grow your own physical identity for the type of work you do and develop. And so when we make a show, my job is really like the captain of the ship. You know, I've gone out and I've thought, you know, there's a country over there that we should find, you know what I mean, in sort of Columbus terms, and I have to steer the ship and have the vision of where we're going, but everybody else has to contribute to sailing the ship and doing that. So, you know, we bring together the composer I've worked with for 20 years as well, and Sophie Smith, and we come together as a group and we talk through the ideas and we develop it and move it forward. So the dancers are contributing on every level, really, as a group of artists that we all work together. It's kind of a factory that we're working on.
And I'll just
expand on the 8 people, because when we do very large scale outdoor spectacle, we often expand up, so there'll be 20 or so, whatever, because the spectacle is enormous and you just can't do it with 8 people. And in those cases, you know, the core holds it together and spreads the information out into a wider group when you're doing things on a bigger scale. So we do expand up and down, and, you know, to be absolutely honest, I'd love to have 12 dancers or 16 or whatever, but you know, in these days you have to be fleet of foot, so holding a core together is the best we can hope for, and, you know, it works for us to be able to create the type of work we want to do. Sorry.
No, that's perfect. I was also interested in, you say you'd love to have more dancers. What do you look for when you are selecting new dancers to join Motionhouse, if you do, given that people, you know, dancers stay with you for such a long time?
When we have auditions, we're very clear, actually. We're one of the few companies that just has completely open auditions. Mm-hmm. So, you know, we invite people to send us their information and tell us what they've done in the past, etc. But, you know, even if you're a beginner straight out of college, you can come to us. Which is getting more and more rare these days. Most auditions tend to be by invitation only. Mm. So we're very open to who comes and what their skill base is when they bring to us. But what we look for is 2 things, really. You need to have a strong basic dance technique, and you have to be courageous and very open to expanding the idea of what it is that you're going to be doing as a dancer, that the language is really extended and open. So, for example, if you only ever want to work in nice theatres at 71 degrees and then we're not the company to work for, you know, because, you know, we do large scale works where we perform outdoors doing aerial work from construction machines, you know. So I have contemporary dancers who have skilled and bold enough to undertake that kind of work, it starts to narrow the pool quite radically, quite quickly, really. So, so you're looking for this all over ambition to explore the art of physical performance, a courage in doing that, an idea that you bring something that will contribute to the group, that you will bring a different quality. We're always looking for people who can challenge us and shake us out of our, this is what we do kind of thing. And new people are a great influx of new energy into the company, and it's important to have that and to take on new things. So, yeah, we're looking for people who challenge us, excite us, who are courageous, and who are excited about being part of a group that are doing their own work. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And with a company that pushes the boundaries of dance, I think it must take a unique and, as you say, courageous dancer to really immerse themselves in this language and in this world that Motionhouse has created.
Yes, it definitely does. And, we're very lucky that we... I think the proof is in the pudding, that people tend to come and they tend to stay. So, we have auditions every now and again, but they're not very common occurrences because people stay with us for a very long time. And, part of that is also Louise Richards, who's the director of Motionhouse and who's the creator of the company, really. I've just made the recent shows, but we have, we've had 2 performing mothers in our show. Do you know what I mean? The people come to us, they have relationships, they have homes, they have children. They have, despite being dancers, they have real lives and they're supported in it. They come, they get their maternity leave, and then we welcome them back. We don't say, "Oh, you're finished now," or whatever. And as long as they are prepared to take on that lifestyle of what that involves, and they can support that, the company is functioning on a way to really support them in doing that, and that in turn breeds back a great loyalty as well. And our view is, once you've got these fantastic artists, you want to allow them to live a life, because that life gives you the experience back to make your work richer. Do you know what I mean? So Everybody is talking about a broad thing, not just a group of young people talking about young people's issues, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think it's very inspiring to hear a company that nurtures the life outside of the company as well as inside the company. For the longevity of a dancer's career, which can be short or it can be slightly longer. I think that's very inspiring, actually.
Yes, and that's down to the vision of Louise Richards, really. And I think it's fantastic, and we really love, we're very, very, we're a close-knit group. And like all families, we fall out every now and again, but, we also get along, and that's, it breeds rich work, and it's an exciting thing to do. And
why do you feel dance theatre is an important genre within the dance sphere?
I think that what dance theatre offers, because dance theatre was a spectacle, was a kind of term that came out end of the 70s, early 80s. It was coming out, and it was very much trying to suggest that you were exploring content in a way that had more than just the movement to it, that it had context and imagery and sometimes narrative, but not necessarily linear narrative in the way that it was working. And that term worked for a long time, and actually now at Motionhouse we just call ourselves Motionhouse, and we don't call ourselves anything, because if we've decided that we're becoming a spectacle company. We're always fundamentally rooted in dance. All the company are dancers, and we make from movement. What you're trying to move towards is the joy of dance. What it can do is it can absorb all the other forms into it. It can be so mercurial, and it's so international. You can perform a work like with Scattered. We toured obviously to Shanghai and places like that in China, but also to a series of major cities that nobody outside China has ever heard of, but happen to have 10 million people in them, and all the rest of it up the coast of China. And, you know, we were able to have a real relationship with our audience through our imagery. You know, it's not language based, it's through it's visual poetry that you're doing. And so it's not just this is this image. The image is there, and it allows you your own poetic association in what you're trying to see and do. So you're trying to create a really rich experience for the audience where, you know, it's really exciting and dynamic. You know, we make our work at a real pace so that you know, that's the way the modern world is going. Imagery is received faster and faster. The dynamics are really important. But within that, you have time to reflect and associate with the imagery and the physicality. You know, the sheer energy and physicality produces a response in the audience. You feel that energy coming off the stage, and you engage with that level. But then the imagery is allowing you to be associative, to think how what we're doing relates to your life. You know, it's not just that we're here telling you this miraculous story. It's about trying to evoke some of the feelings that we have about life in our audience for them to associate and go, oh yeah, it's like that for me, or oh no, it's different for me, and why is that, and all the rest of it. So you're trying all the time to use a form which absorbs everything: theatre, dance, puppetry, circus. You know, if I had a good idea for juggling, I'd stick juggling in, but I don't have a good idea at the moment. But it's that kind of thing of, it doesn't matter what goes in as long as it seems to have a relevant place to the rest of the material, and it evokes something in the audience. It is emotionally moving. And that emotional thing is the thing that we push a lot for in our work. It's not, I'm not interested in creating a cold cerebral work that people sit back and go, stroke their chins about and go, yes, well, that is obviously, and there. No, I want to make a fast, dynamic, hot, sweaty, emotional engagement with the work and the world.
It sounds very exciting. I would love to be able to experience that myself. I have one final question for you, Kevin. With your extraordinary career that you've had with not just Motionhouse, but, you know, as you say, you have the experience of the opening ceremony for the London 2012 Paralympic Games. You've been awarded an MBE for your services to dance. I understand you've become a doctorate as well of late. What advice would you give to other aspiring dance artists who in the future would be interested in moving towards this type of dance career?
I think the really important thing to do is to make the work that you want to make rather than the work that you think you should make. Mm-hmm. And to really, what I really believe in is that you need to seek out your audience. There's a kind of ethos from on high in dance that if you make it, they will come. And I actually think, no, I'm not sure I buy that, actually. I think if you make it, then you have to go and find them and show them it, and then they will engage with you. And so I think that you have to really work and create the work that you believe in and then passionately look for your audience and develop it. And, you know, Motionhouse have performed in everywhere from, you know, the Bass Arena in Texas of, you know, 3,500 seats to a village hall in Cornwall with, you know, 80 people crammed in who've come from all over the county. And we've performed on the streets across Europe, and we've performed in massive stadia. The key is to engage with your audience, to go, it's not just that you as a creator have something special. You have something, but everybody has something, and therefore you have to you have to engage with them with a sincerity and find your audience and work it and be passionate about your work and committed to it. And I think that, you know, dance is a difficult career for anyone, but the other side of it is that, you know, if you follow that path, then you are able to find an audience. Then it is incredibly sustaining for you, and it is a joyful life to lead in that respect. So it's worth doing, but it sure isn't easy.
No, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Kevin, for joining us today. I'm so excited about Scattered, and I know our audiences around the world would love for you to come and visit them when you've finished up with the UK. For those who are listening, you can book your tickets in the UK to Motionhouse's exciting show Scattered, running from the 26th to the 29th of April. Go to saddlerswells.co.uk for tickets, and you can also learn more about Motionhouse on their website, motionhouse.co.uk, and of course follow them on their socials, as we just talked about. Find your tribe, reach out and engage with them. So thank you very much, Kevin.
Thank you, Savannah.
I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Don't forget to subscribe. We've got some incredible interviews coming up with principal ballerinas and renowned choreographers. We love dance and ballet, and we hope you'll love us. Join us on Facebook and Twitter.